Hey, welcome to this. It's the Llama Brothers. And to get into anything, why we're going to call them Llama Brothers is we constantly help people move.
That's right.
Um,
That's right. We're built for it.
yep, and it was started with our sister moving 3 times in 1 year, I think it was, until when we got to California. And we would help people move all the time, and someone who really didn't like us thought he was really making fun of us when he called us "you fucking llamas." So it stuck. It was good. We were like pack horses.
Yeah, and the reason the guy didn't like us because I stole his girlfriend.
There was that too.
There's that too.
But
and remember, he wanted to fight me.
Oh yeah. There was many instances of that, which is they're always good stories, and this is where we'll start. We'll start in the summer of 1998, that bygone period of racist uncles and tobacco festivals still existed at that time. I read that they no longer exist as of like 2003, and I thought, well,
no,
I guess when Marge Schott died, they just shut it down. Just no more.
Was that the tobacco festival where we played in a 3-on-3 tournament?
It definitely was the 3-on-3 tournament year. I love
it. Elvis was on our team.
Rest in peace, cousin Elvis. But yeah,
R.I.P.L.
And it was it was during that era of 3-on-3 basketball tournaments. It was really popular, and we got into. I just moved back from Florida. I had been living in Florida for the last 6 months, and I returned back to Ohio, and the tobacco festival was going on. So we decided, just kind of on the cuff, that we're going to get in this tournament. Our sister Jenny, it was her boyfriend at the time, wanted to play too. So Mike, Elvis, myself, and Tim here, and that's, I guess, an introduction. That's Tim, and I'm Matt Caudell, and we are the Llama Brothers.
That's right.
So we played in this tournament. I had a black flag shirt on, and that was the name of our team on that game. It was Black Flag.
That's right.
And
represent.
We were representing the punk rock basketball players. There's not a lot of us out there, but we were down. Interesting day. I don't think we won a game, but in the end,
they were all tight. They were all tight.
Yeah, we took everyone to the very limits, and we shouldn't have. And I think that was the reason why people didn't like us, was because
we talked a lot of shit.
Yeah, we talk shit because that's what you do when you're our size.
Remember that the big like 6'8" black guy, older black guy, He had all them knee braces on. And me and you were talking shit to him. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna fuck your knees up," but he was like, "Come on, y'all!"
Yeah,
come on, y'all.
He was awesome, and the other guy on their team was a short, fat black dude, and he was funny as hell. And I would try to steal the ball from him, but he was rotund, and you couldn't get to him. But it was a good team. They beat us, but barely. Like everything, I don't think we lost by more than 2 points during the whole time. I think we lost 4 games.
It was all tight.
And Elvis and Mike were supposed to be our 3-point shooters, and they
couldn't hit shit that day.
They couldn't hit anything. But
well, how about another 3-on-3 tournament, the one in Winchester, when we had the legend Mark Caudell on our team.
Our dad, Mark Caudell. We were getting into all the 3-on-3 tournaments, and it was funny because we got into that one, and one of the teams consisted of a McDonald's All-American in the state of Ohio at the time. And it was the redneck version of it, but he was really good, and we still only lost by one basket. It was just funny.
I told that kid, I said, "You're not a McDonald's All-American. You're full of shit."
Yeah.
He said, "Look at my shorts, man. These are McDonald's All-American shorts." I was like, "You got them at the thrift store."
Yeah. I did.
But he was good. He was dunking on us and shit.
Yeah, and credit where credit was due. He was good, but
he was good. Remember they had that muscle bound hillbilly kid.
Yep.
And I ran him into the fence and hurt his hand. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, we got rid of him." And then they brought in that little guy. And that little guy hit like 5 threes in a row.
Yeah, they were
deep. They had a deep bench.
Well, and it was anywhere you go in that area, you're going to have good 3-pointers because they're white and redneck, and that's just what they're bred to do there. Like, they're not dunking the ball.
Don't put them on the foul line.
Don't put them on the foul line. They shoot free throws and they shoot 3-pointers. It's what they do. Good for them.
Remember Ricky Combs basketball?
Ricky Combs, 2 houses down, red shorts at the top of the key.
God, we played hours of basketball there.
Yeah, that was Rick Combs. And that was
Rick Combs. Shout out Rick Combs. Isn't he like a race car driver or some shit? Forget something he does. Shout out Kevin Forney, man. Kevin Forney, he spent a lot of hours down there with us.
Well, yeah, that was backyard football.
Backyard
football on Cumberland Road, and we would find a place and we would get the fights, the Jeremy and Nathan fight. Shout out to those boys. They'd come down. Craigs, all of them. Like if Terry was around, Kenny, Chad, all of them, they'd play. And
did Kenny Craig own a shirt? I don't remember that kid ever having a shirt on. He's like Randy from the Trailer Park Boys.
He was, and glasses. He always had broken glasses because we always broke his glasses. It was
and they're white trash as shit, and he looked Asian.
Yep. I don't know how that
remember
worked. He had
how
very
that worked.
black
DNA.
hair, and he looked he looked Chinese, and he wasn't.
Yeah, he looked Asian. He was not. He was pure white trash. And I need to see the Ancestry.com or 23andMe.
Yeah, I don't know where Raymond was going with that one, but who knows? But also,
their dad Raymond.
But also a shout out to the councilman in Mount Orb there, Woody Whittington.
That's right.
He would get out there and play.
Right. The founder. All-time quarterback.
All-time quarterback is what he would play because.
And then we started fucking him up, and he was like, "Come on, boys, take it easy on me."
Yeah, no, it's a shout out to him. No, we had a lot of people. Come.
A lot of people. Rick Combs, Chris Forney,
Chris's
the
cousin.
Forney family of fights, like you said. So a couple years ago, we were in I forget what hospital it was. It was like an MRI for Amy or something, and I drop her off, and I'm waiting on her, and she comes out, and there's this fucking giant hoder looking motherfucker as a nurse. It's Nathan Fight.
Yeah.
He's like some kind of like badass nurse or something. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" Dude, he's gigantic. He's huge. He kept growing.
He was just he was only about 6'4" in high school. But I guess
he's probably 6'6", 6'7" now.
Wow.
He's kept growing.
Yeah, Jeremy did too. He was always about the same size as guys, and all of a sudden he went up, and then, last I heard of Fight, last time I talked to Fight, he was getting a transplant from his sister for a kidney. Like he had,
shit.
He lost both kidneys, and he had kidney disease
what?
Yeah, so one of the twin girls, I believe, gave him a kidney. I think I can't remember.
Oh,
these
awesome.
guys are like lifelong friends and everything. You just never talk to them enough, and thank God for Facebook to see little things, but you just don't talk to people enough. And it is what it is. But
like people you used to work with and shit, good friends you hung out with, just lose touch with them.
Yeah, you lose touch, and it's always great. Like the last time I was with those guys was 11 years ago. Last time I was down in Ohio, because we all got together at Jeremy's house, actually, in Hamersville. He lived behind, like, where the school is. He lived right back there. And everybody was there. Like, Jamie Hunter showed up.
It's a nice neighborhood.
Jamie Hunter showed up, and that was always Jamie's thing, is you never know. He'd always say yes, but you never know if he'd be there. But he was there. John Holland, Ian Wells, Stoney, Drew Lawwell, all those guys showed up. It was a good time, and you just don't get lots of those. times, but it was a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Drew Lobo's like a big time dairy farm or something, right?
I think he's still farms, but he was selling seeds. He's a Monsanto guy.
Ooh, Monsanto.
I believe so. I believe he was selling for them, but you know what? A job's a fucking job.
So there was these hippies, man, years ago, and they were like, "Yo, we're having a protest." I'm like, "Well, cool. What are you protesting?" Monsanto. Fuck Monsanto. I'm like, okay. They're like, we need protest singers. I was like, okay. I was playing on the street all the time. It's like, okay, cool. I'll show up. And the guy like gave me an invite to it. He's like, there's gonna be thousands of people there. Show up. There's like 20. I'm like, fuck you. Well, I'm going to Fountain Square.
Yeah. Well, and
dirty hippie.
And again, speaking of hippies, when we get to California, we had lots of hippie interchanges, which was always great.
Dirty hippies. There was so many dirty hippies, so many drum circles.
Yeah, and you just dealt with it. But getting there was the fun part. Like we said, we went through the tobacco festival. We went through that whole fucking thing. We lost every game. And then the very last fucking basketball game that we're playing, me and this guy all of a sudden just start beaking off at each other. He was a real dick, and he was like, we lost, and I was just like, well, we almost had you guys, kind of a thing. And he just, I can't remember what he fucking said, but I was like, what'd you fucking say? Fuck you. And I'm not really a violent dude. I'm not like, don't want to fight. It is what it is. But I just went from 0 to 1,000. And that was always that guy's MO. Tim's MO was to get mad quick, like Hawk. And but all of a sudden it was just me, and I was just irrational and fucking crazy. And I just said, okay, fuck it, let's go. And all of a sudden there is 87 people behind this kid coming at me.
Yeah, it was us four versus the town of Ripley.
Yeah, which was really just us two, because Elvis and Mike were 30 feet behind us.
Ran.
Except for Mike was beaking off 30 feet from us.
Yeah, he was. I had to drag you. I was like, nope, we ain't going to win this fight.
No, and it was great because I could hear Mike, one of the best bullshitters of all time, just beaking off the whole time. And good for him. Me, I was just...
Blinky motherfucker.
Me, I was just wanting to I wanted to fight. I just wanted to fight. And luckily, we did not, thank Christ, and got the hell out of there.
Wasn't the guy you got into with, didn't he have a twin brother on that team?
Yep, there was two of them.
I thought they were twins. They were built the same. I don't know if they were twins. They looked like carbon copies.
And it was funny because...
fucking stormtroopers.
Yeah, because you had 4 people on your team and 3 playing, and he was the 4th one, like, off the side of the court. And he was the one talking shit. And I was
that's the team that had a girl, too. That team that had a girl?
There was another team that had a girl. They had the 2, and then they ended up winning because they beat us. And then I remember Dad or whoever told us later that team had won. But they were good, but
yeah, I remember
them.
Fuck them. We told Dad that we got into it, and he's like, who with who? And I said, the whole fucking town of Ripley, Dad.
What's the first thing Dad said? Should have got your Uncle Donnie. I was like, fuck you. Uncle Donnie's 60 years old.
Yeah, so we lost the basketball thing, and we ended up on a bus. What, a couple days later?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of money. I just moved back, had no fucking money. So
I was working construction. Shit job. Remember, my car got repossessed. Remember that?
Yep, I remember that because I was there.
We fucking woke up in the morning, and I looked outside. My car was gone. I was like, what? Someone stole my car. I was like,
were you doing construction or
I was doing construction, yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was construction or fucking landscaping. Because I knew you had
them both. I don't know.
Because you would always talk about the meth heads, like going off behind and.
Oh, that was construction.
Oh,
yeah.
That was construction.
Yeah, and the guy that I worked for, he had gigantic weed plants growing in his corn in his garden, and he would have me go out there because I would drive to his house and then drive with him to the work site. He's like, help me out here with this weed. And I'd have to like pull it down and stake it down so it wouldn't stick out over the corn. And he's like, you want some of this weed? You want some of this weed? Remember, I had to go get money from him when we left. I was like, yo, you need to fucking pay me, bro.
Yeah, I had my Delta 88, 1977 Delta 88. And it was funny because I'd come back and you had decided that you were coming with me to California when I decided I was going. And you all of a sudden were back at home sleeping on the couch. Yeah. And you heard, like, I was up. I can't remember what it was, but I saw your lights on your car flick on. And I saw you on the couch, and I'm like, what the fuck? And we kind of busted outside, and the car was gone. And then it was we talked to the cops or something the next day, and it was repossessed.
Yeah. I called something, and they gave us. We went down to Westwood.
Yes.
Shout out Westwood. We went down to Westwood and picked up my shit, which is like some construction.
Yeah, it was over by the fucking train station.
Yeah. Yep. So when I started dating Kate, she lived in Westwood, and I'd have to drive right through there. I was like, "Fuck you!" Every time I drove by, I was like, "You repo my car."
But luckily, I had the Delta 88, the boat. It was awesome. My favorite car. The best thing about that thing was the heat never came off, and it was August, so that was always awesome to have. And living in Florida with
you're getting a warm ride.
Oh, the heat always in Florida was fucking awesome. But
you drove it to Florida that one time and you couldn't turn it off.
No, that was the tempo.
Just left it on.
That was the tempo.
That was the tempo.
Yeah,
oh shit!
The fucking tempo. The Delta never let me down ever. I loved that car, and it was just unfortunately falling apart. So built out of steel. So no fucking around with that one.
American steel.
You betcha. But I had to take you. We had to get that money from that guy. He owed you like $200 or $300, and I thought we were gonna have to take baseball bats in that day. But
yep.
But we went to bingo that night. Grandma's bingo, St. Mike's, uptown.
Oh yeah, they don't have bingo there anymore.
Yeah, but that's right down the street from Tim now, and
yeah. No more bingo.
I went and I won like $400 on the coverall at the end, and that paid for some tickets to California. C'est la vie. No fucking jobs.
Travel America on a Greyhound. That is a. Whew.
Yeah, and it was
that really exposes you to different types of humanity.
Yeah, and it was funny how like. My friend Bickett, shout out to Mr. Bickett. He had lived in Yellowstone, and he'd lived in the Everglades, and that's the only reason I knew about the national park system, living, working, doing all that shit in it. So that's I had to go old school when I decided I want to go to California. I want to pick a place, so I picked Yosemite National Park. So I had to go to the library. Yeah, that fucking place, that library, to find phone numbers because the internet really didn't have a whole lot of information at that time. So I had to do some
AOL
old school digging. And I called up HR. I talked to Heidi in HR. And I said, hey, we want to come. And she said, get out here, you get jobs. Done. So that's how we decided. And our sister took us down a Greyhound about 2:00 in the morning. And
it was a weird time.
Yeah, it was really weird. And we bought our ticket. I think there was $79 anywhere. So it was a good deal. And
it was a gigantic stack of paper tickets, remember?
It was like 35 tickets because the amount of oh my god, like you had to fucking
transferring
every fucking time. And it's the worst. Transferring on a Greyhound is the fucking worst.
You were smart though. You had a fucking a Discman headphones.
Yeah.
I didn't have that shit. I was just like, fuck. I had to talk to people. And
Yeah, you had to have your music. I learned that from a couple years before traveling on the train actually to Chicago to see a girl. And it was a 6.5 hour train ride, which wasn't too bad, but you had to have some music on. So I had the Discman, of course, where you went pop, and then it skipped, and I was like, fuck. So it's basically having a record player. But we went through, our route was, we went through Kentucky, we went down to Tennessee, Little Rock, and finally down into Texas. And Dallas, Texas is a fucking huge Greyhound hub. It's
huge.
And we got there at nighttime, like 11 o'clock at night. It is a fucking huge hub. There's probably 100 buses sitting there. And like I just remember seeing the fucking building downtown. And it had green neon. I don't know what the fuck was wrote on the side of it. It could have been Dallas. I fucking don't know. But it was in green neon. That's all I fucking remember about it. But for us to get on that bus, oh fuck, I don't know. It was
Texas in August. Ordeal. It was pretty hot. Where the fuck were we on the bus where they stopped us right in the middle of the highway? And it was like Border Patrol? Remember that shit?
I think that was once we passed through El Paso. It was when we hit El Paso station. And we got into New Mexico.
Yeah.
We were just barely into New Mexico yet, and we got stopped and raided. They took 2 or 3 people off.
It was just, it's weird.
The poor.
It's weird.
They could have probably jumped on that bus any time and took 10 people away.
It was like Woody Guthrie days of, the bulls knocking the bums off the bus or off the train.
Oh, yeah. It was, you knew it was going to be a fucking ordeal.
Yeah. So we get to LA. I remember getting to LA. LA was just as big as Dallas, if not bigger. Confusing, and we had no fucking clue where the bus was, and we just got it right in the nick of time.
Yeah,
the motherfuckers took off.
Yeah, we barely got on the one in LA, and it was sad because we lots of places we had like 4-hour layover, 5-hour layover. LA, we had like 2 minutes to get to the next fucking bus. Because it's one place where you can be like, well, okay, I can go walk around. I got to do that a few months later, like when I left, and we went back down to LA, and I was at the LA station. I walked around LA because I had like 5-hour layover, and it's a crazy fucking place. I gotta say, holy fucking Christ, there's bums everywhere, and or however we want to call and distinguish people of displaced people. Because they're just fucking everywhere, because it's nice and it's warm, and if I was going to be someone who's displaced, I would fucking move there too. Like, if I'm going to sleep on the street.
I had a bum in Orlando tell me that one time. They're like, I don't understand homeless people in New York or Chicago. Come to Florida.
Exactly.
It's warm.
But, so we get to our final destination from the Greyhound anyway, which was Merced, California. Now, Merced, California, not a lot of, I don't know how much, no one knows about fucking Merced and Fresno are kind of the hubs between San Francisco and Yosemite. Pretty much, you got your Modesto and your Turlock and all these other little shitty towns, cities.
Manteca,
Oakhurst. Oakhurst was the awesome little town. But so we get to Merced, and we're told that there is no bus to Yosemite that night. So we're like, fuck. So we get like this fucking rat hole motel right on the
disgusting.
Oh, it was bad. Main drag. Luckily it had its own bathroom. It wasn't the Del Cawa.
Yeah.
But...
Ooh, Del Cawa. That's for another story.
That's another story. But the shittiest part about this whole thing was when we were told, this was 1998 again. So we both had goatees. But at this point, after 83 hours on a bus, and that's how long it took. It took 83 hours. I I had a beard now. I normally always just had a goatee, but now I had a beard. And when I talked to HR, they said, no, you cannot have a goatee. You have to have a beard or clean shaven. So I was so fucking stupid at that time. I was like, well, if I can't have a goatee, I'm just going to fucking shave. And it was stupid. I was just like, so we're in the motel. And that's the one thing that I actually had was shaving cream and fucking, toothbrush and a razor. And I actually shaved my face. Like, it's fucking horrible. I hate it. I don't look right. I haven't done it. I haven't done it since. I think that was the last time that. No, I did it a couple times here, but just not something I do. I don't like it. I don't like the way I look. Don't want to do it. Tim did the same thing, so we were two clean-shaven fucking guys.
Yep.
It was, but we were starving because
starving to death.
We were poor, and that's the thing. Like, we didn't have a lot of money. We're poor. We're in a shithole. No idea. There's not a McDonald's around. Like, funniest thing, where we're staying, you look down, there's no fucking fast food restaurants that you can see. So we were like, well, let's go walking. So we go walking, go around a couple blocks, and we see, ta-da, Maria's Taco Stand. Maria's Taco Stand is a restaurant, though. It's not a taco stand. That's just the name of it.
Yeah.
And
it's a restaurant, yeah.
Her deal was, caught our eye, was 20 rolled tacos for $5. It was the best. I don't think I'd ever eaten a fucking taco as good as that. We got 20.
20.
We got 20, 10 a piece.
That shit was delicious.
And
10 a piece.
Got some guacamole, and I'm not gonna lie, at that point, I don't know how many times I've eaten guacamole. Because we'd gone to a Mexican restaurant and it might have been there, but I'd be like, well, fuck that, I ain't eating that shit. But this was just like dipping it, just downing that shit. It was the best. But Maria's Taco Stand became a really good staple because she had quite a few places. I think there was one in Fresno, Merced. They were around.
Yeah, there was one in. Wasn't there one in? What's that town right before you get into Yosemite? With the Happy Burger.
El Portal. No.
Is that El Portal?
Yeah, that is. It is, I think. Yeah, because that's as you go.
Oh no. It's God damn it. It's Mexican for it's Spanish for butterfly. Shit. Starts with the M.
Oh, I know the word for butterfly. Mariposa.
Mariposa.
That's it.
Mariposa. Yeah. Yes, I think there's one there, right? Maria's Taco Stand.
I just remember Happy Burger there, and the fair.
I liked Mariposa
and the fair.
Oh yeah, the fair, the Indian walking tacos.
Yeah, stepping in dog shit. That's what I remember about the fair. It wasn't even cow shit. It was stepping in. We went to two fairs.
They had we
went to the Merced County Fair, and then the little one, the little Mariposa one.
Yeah, and we were snobs on fairs because we grew up at the Brown County Fair,
the littlest, biggest little fair in the world. Yeah,
whatever
it was. All I remember what I remember best about Brown County Fair was walk your horses.
Oh fuck, that still goes on. What I always remember is the weather change. It was always at the time of year where it's starting to get nice and cool and fucking rainy. Not anymore, dude. Brown County Fair now you sweat your balls off. Well, so fuck it, it's 90 degrees.
And that was the thing. Like during the daytime, you had to have shorts and a muscle shirt. But when it's day 5, and because it's always during your birthday, it was always the last month in September. So it's always during your birthday, and you always had to have a coat in the car to go watch fucking tractor pulls, because if not, it's gonna be 40 degrees at night watching fucking giant tractors pull weights. Excitement.
Yep.
To the T.
So me and Towns went last year, and it was like the first one back after COVID. So most people are masked up. Me and Towns were masked up, and we kept hearing the tractor pulls. We were riding rides and shit, and He's like, what is that? I'm like, it's tractor poles. I was like, I'll bet you $5 that Grandpa's back there. So we roll back there. You know how it's packed. You can't find anybody. Right there he is.
Yep.
Dusty's sitting right by him. Towns was like, what the fuck is it? He's like, they just got to pull there? I'm like, yeah.
That's what
He's
they
like,
do.
They're not racing each other? I'm like, no. They're just pulling.
Yeah. That and arm wrestling.
Hard
arm wrestling.
No, arm wrestling got discontinued years ago.
Touch.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Can't keep 6 feet between.
God damn. Remember the chick arm wrestling, the girl arm wrestling? That was the best.
Nah.
Some total fucking scary women.
That was great because there was some scary looking. And what was her name? Angie Pocket. Wasn't that?
Oh, yeah.
Like Pocket.
Yeah, Angie Pocket.
She ruled the amateur division there for a bit.
Mm-hmm. God, she was 280.
She was just
bam.
Boom. But the best part was the open, like the open where you would have professional
300-pounder against a 150.
You'd have professional guys coming in and looking like Thor, and then going up against the Sam, whatever the fuck his name was.
Cooper.
Sam Cooper. The name is
Hall of Famer.
Well, his name is on a sign outside Decatur, Ohio.
When you drive through Decatur, it says home of
Sam
Arm Wrestling Hall of Famer Sam Cooper.
He was awesome. And
he was a good dude. He was
awesome. And we knew him because, well, it was Decatur, and we knew the fouls, so we're up there all the time.
Didn't he? I thought he let us fish in his pond or something. I'm not sure.
I'm sure he did. And Dad knew him. I think him and Charlie knew him from coon hunting and shit. Like, there was connections beyond all that shit.
Yep.
And, yeah, so Decatur, Ohio is a very interesting place, to say the least.
It sure is. Let's get back to Merced.
But yeah,
so we're Merced. The next day we get on that Yosemite bus with our fantastic driver.
Well, we get on that, but it was the weirdest thing. We got a regular bus first, and it took us to this very fucking weird bus depot outside of Merced somewhere. Again, and we had to switch buses, and this is when we finally got on that really fancy fucking bus. It had TVs, it had air conditioning, and like we were just 83 hours of fucking human butt sweat, and it was just terrible. So now you're in this fancy fucking shit, and you're like, holy Christ. But our bus driver, I can't think of the fucker's name. I wish I did. I did.
Jim. Didn't we just give him Jim?
I think it was.
Or something.
But he was fantastic because he was very upbeat. And he loved he would tell you about everything. Right there's a tree.
He fucking loved that area.
That's walnuts, and that's whatever, and that's pistachios, and that's, see the tree shaking.
Almonds.
Almond trees.
Almonds.
There's that almond tree. But he would talk about almond trees, and we're sitting there beaking off to each other about this guy. And I know he had to hear us because he was giving us dirty fucking looks.
Yeah, he heard us. He's getting pissed off.
Yeah, and you could just see him getting red faced, and he was a heavy set guy. And like later, Tim and I had an idea for a screenplay, and we're just like, Farley played this role in whatever it's
Billy Madison.
Yeah. He needs to play this bus driver too.
Reprise it. Oh shit!
But
talk about screenplays. Remember our casting for our screenplay about Grandma and Grandpa?
Yep. Chris Penn. The late Chris Penn.
Chris Penn. Motherfucker would have won an Oscar. He would have our
George.
Grandpa.
Yep, he would have played George Jones, and he would have won an Oscar.
Jennifer Jason Leigh should have been nominated, but she wouldn't have won because of some bullshit.
Yeah, no, it was a good cast there. Yeah, that's always a period piece that can always be rewritten. Like Grandma wrote lots of it for us. It's just you had to put the imagination to that, and again, that would be a story all its own of some of the shit we knew about our mother's side of the family and some of the stuff that happened back in the day. It was pretty rough. But living in 1940s downtown Cincinnati, East End. They had some interesting stuff happening back then. So,
oh yeah,
but
Crime Central.
Crime Central, and not to say it didn't follow some of our family in the lifetime there, but
genetics.
It is what it is. So anyway, we get back to our crazy bus driver talking about almonds, and we fucking finally get to Yosemite, and we come in. I'd never been to Yosemite before. Tim had never been to Yosemite before, and as you come through the valley, first up is El Capitan. You see just people, and like I didn't even know that's what it was until later, because I'm like, what the fuck is El Capitan? It's just the largest stone or granite, the largest granite.
Yeah. Just a big fucking rock.
Yeah,
dude.
It's like the largest piece of granite in the United States or the world. Or, I don't know. It's just massive. But so you pass that and you keep going, and then you finally see it, Half Dome. And it's pretty majestic at first. You're like, oh, the
respect
dome. Look, it's beautiful. Look how, and it is beautiful. It's just like half a fucking rock. Like, like someone just.
What happened to you?
Yeah, someone karate chopped that shit down, and it's like, where the fuck the other half go? Anyway, I ended up hating that fucking rock more than anything else. Just waking up to it, just fuck you, Half Dome. It became half dumb to me, but.
Where we lived, Half Dome, we were in Half Dome shade, so it'd be cold, and Half Dome would fucking make you colder because you're in the shade all the time. There's no clouds. You're in the shade of a gigantic rock. So we didn't like it.
Yeah. Thank God he only had
Remember when the piece of that motherfucker fell off? Yeah. If it was full dome, we'd be fucked.
Yep.
So we get there, and we get jobs as night cleaners.
Yep. Heidi did not lie to us. She had us jobs lined up. Night cleaners. So interesting thing. It was funny because so we roll up, we get to HR, we're night cleaners. Boom. Done. So they take our picture, they give us our employee cards. So Matt's first, he gets up, gets his fucking employee card. My employee number was 6969. No shit. Ha 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 ha. 6969. Tim's was 6970. So we get into the van and we meet Dana, who was awesome dude. He was part of housing. Big black dude, just ripped. He looked like Dana Stubblefield.
He looked like a first round draft pick. He's huge, put together.
Yeah, he looked like Dana Stubblefield, and that's how I remember.
He gave us our fucking cabin that was number
69. So
that's right. So 69's all around.
I thought, look at this, Matt. 69, employee number 69, house 60. This is just going to be sexcapades all around. You have hit the jackpot. The world is no, it's fucking lies. But so we get there and we're starving. And because we're poor, when we're signing up in HR, they say, oh, here's this food card. And we're like, oh, fuck that. It's $40 a month. And we just said no. We said no to it at first. We're like, we'll just buy our own groceries. That lasted about a week.
That's right. We did. Yeah.
Because
dumbasses.
The first thing we did when we got there is we went to the fucking incredibly expensive store. And we bought like SpaghettiOs and ravioli in a can.
Shit. Yeah, Dinty Moore. Dinty Moore.
And Sterno. Like
ate that shit right out of a can like fucking
we
hobos.
were fucking hobos sitting there. We had a bear box, and it should have been called a mouse box because that's the only thing that got inside those fucking things.
You put fucking bread in there? Gone.
So you had to plug your holes in your bear box. And that didn't even work. Fucking mice just would get in. They didn't get in anything. So we eventually, I think a week later, we figured out after talking to some people, get the food card. It's worth it. It's 3 square meals a day, and you get what you fucking want. So better deal. So our rent, I think, was $16 a month, And our tent cabin 69 is exactly what it sounds like. It is a canvas on a 10 by 10 frame, and there's
plywood
floor, 2 beds, 2 single beds, a single electric outlet. That's it. That's all you get.
Fucking trash.
So
trash, surrounded by fucking dirty hippies all over the place. Most of the people there were like hippie kids working there for the summer, or just fucking straight up losers at the end of the line, like we were, and just working to get. They were there for the free housing.
There was a lot of locals,
yeah, there was.
Well, and when I say local, I mean like the Turlocks and the Modestos and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
They were around, and they would just come there because it was a place to go. But then you had us out of staters who just wanted an adventure and come there, work for the summer. Lots of hot young ladies, lots of hippies, lots of displaced people, just, people looking for something, or lost. And I think that was the interesting thing. So our little area that we had, we were 69 right in front of our tent cabin. Like we had stairs going down, and then we had a giant rock, and it was called it was called the Virgin Rock, or the Sacrificial Rock is what we were told eventually.
It was a hippie magnet.
It was. Everyone loved getting there, but it was funny because 68 and 69 were both empty. Now 70 was not, and we got there and we got all set up and we were fucking tired, so we crashed out. So the next day we meet our neighbors for the first time. They were running, and it was a guy, I can't remember his name except for we called him Cunanan, because all you whatever, it's not American, it's the Murder of Versace or whatever it is that was on FX.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that that show just came out last year, year before. And so the guy, Andrew Cunanan, who was a serial killer at that time, kind of became a more popular name. But in 1998, that shit had just happened. So, and this guy had just died, and it was just in the papers. So this guy looked like him. So we just called him Cunanan.
To a T. Yeah, he looked like him so much we can't even remember his name.
And we had a very good, it wasn't a system, it was just a mind meld brother thing of giving people nicknames that just fucking made sense, And to us, it made sense, and it stuck. And like I said, okay, so there's a few people I didn't like there. There was Wolf, and I fucking hated this guy because first off, his name was Wolf. Now, here's the thing: if you come to a place by yourself where nobody knows you, the only person that gives you that nickname is you, because your name is Kevin. Mm-hmm. Your fucking name is Kevin.
Yeah. We always called him Kevin, and it pissed him off. The name's Wolf. Like, whatever, Kevin.
No, Kevin.
Your name tag says Kevin, motherfucker. Yeah,
your name, it's Kevin. I'm Wolf. Fuck you. You call yourself Wolf. And then the other one was Bingo. Again, the story went, she was having sex in a bingo hall or something, and she said bingo when she came. Bullshit. It's bullshit.
That bitch was trifling.
Yes, it was like Louisiana. She was from Louisiana? Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I slept with her one night, and she was naked, and I was not. She was just like, cuddle me, and I'm like, she's like, nothing's going to happen. I'm like, yeah, trust me, I know. So that was the only closest instance, and that was more than enough of that.
Bingo. Well, her real name was Jennifer. It was. Her real name was Jen, right?
It was. Yeah. So, also with Cunanan was a girl named Jen. So, which would be a big part of life, I think, to say a little bit in those early years. But
for a while, yeah.
And so it was Jen and Cunanan. So they were running, and they're like, "Oh, hi, blah blah blah." We talked to them, like, "Yeah, they're nice enough, whatever." So Tim gets a message from housing saying, "Hey, they need you to work tonight," because they just chose one of us at random and said we need them to work tonight. So you're like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess I'm going in at whatever it was, 5:00 or something," because it wasn't the night shift. It was a different. It was just like a.
It was pot check to do. Pot check. Yeah.
Which was just basically you going and pulling up mats for Antonio because of my carpal tunnel.
Oh, my carpal tunnel! You help me with the carpal tunnel. That kid, what a fucking jerk. Yeah, so pot check is like you're scrubbing gigantic pots that's been cooked in and burning and shit all day, and I loved it. Give me the pot check. Scrubbing, good workout.
Yeah. So Tim got called for that, and that early, just a little bit before he left, our neighbor next to us moves in. Now she was this big-eyed, curly-haired, very pretty Jewish girl named Lizzie Krakow. I think that's what it was. Anyway,
it was. That's her name. Yep.
Because I looked for her and I cannot find her.
Like Krakow, Poland.
And I love that girl, sweetheart. Like she had a very interesting backstory of being a punk rock crazy chick.
She was a Yale dropout. Like, she dropped out from Yale.
Like she followed the Butterflies. The next, like she came back, and that was the beauty of the thing. So she's our neighbor, and it was just like, oh my God, hey, how you doing, sweetheart? Immediately got friends. So the next day, we still hadn't been scheduled for work until that Friday. I think that was going to be our first day. So the next day, Tim and I are kind of bored. We're just like, okay, well, we rode the bus because they had a free bus all around the valley, and you just ride the bus, and it's fun, and you get to see everything. So we go, well, let's do a fucking hike. Why not? So we get the map, and we're like, all right, this one looks the shortest. So let's do this one. It's Vernal Falls. So we take the bus up to Vernal Falls. Now, and also, when I came out to California, as genius as this guy is, I had no shorts. I only had khaki pants, cargo,
dress shoes,
khaki cargo pants, and dress shoes. Not slick. They had a rubber bottom, but I thought it was like.
They had holes in them. You had to put newspaper on them. Remember?
I did, because if they kept getting wet. So I thought I was Charles Bukowski circa 1944, and I was living that way. So I literally had to. I wasn't as fat as I am now, but I was a big guy.
We were both slim.
I was only about 205 at the time, because when I lived in Florida, I had no money and I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
So I lost weight.
Yeah. Yeah, we were both real slim.
So yeah, I was only 200 pounds.
There's a picture of me. There's a picture of me like 6 months or so after we got there, like from behind. I was like 140. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I was like really skinny. Yeah, dude. I didn't know it was me.
Yeah. So so Tim had at least runners. Like he had like runner shoes, like new base, whatever they are. Like you actually had decent shoes. Mm-hmm. So backstory: Tim is an ex-Marine, so at least he is kind of it fit and has all these things and knows lots of this stuff. I
was fresh out of the Marines too.
Yeah. And it was the other interesting thing was it was my first time ever in California. Like when we hit the state line on the bus, and to me it was like this, huge moment for me. And Tim, he had been there at Pendleton already, and like you had done stuff in California already, so it wasn't like what I was getting of going into the desert. Oh, I'm in California now. Like wow. But
love the desert.
Yeah. So we get up to Vernal Falls, and we.
Well, do you remember how you needed to stop because your feet hurt?
Oh my!
And you were smoking. Remember, we were both smoking, right?
No, I was both smoking. I was chewing mainly, but I did smoke every now and again. But I was mostly just chewing, because I remember.
But remember.
I smoked all the time in Florida, so that's why I was doing it. But I got back into just chewing tobacco when I got back to Ohio, and I wasn't dating anyone that was there, so I didn't give a fuck. I just chewed. And
remember the motivation. I kept trying to keep you motivated. I was like, yo, bro, I talked to this fucking hippie dude. He said there's naked chicks up there. It's like a skinny dipping place. There's like a pond up there. And you're like, come on, let's go. That get you going for a while.
Yeah, I like we had water bottles. We luckily had water bottles, and then every interval they had like a water fountain that you could fill up, and so I would like fill up each time and just drain one. And I'm like, so fucking hot because it was like very early, like the first week of September.
Yeah,
but it was like 90 degrees, and it was so fucking hot. And like that's what he kept telling me, like, dude, there's going to be a huge lake up the top, and there's going to be like dirty, naked hippie chicks up there that are hot. I'm like, let's keep going. We're going to do it.
Let's keep going. I could do it. And
yeah.
And there was a bunch of hippie chicks up there like bikinis.
The best part was where you got to the place that was the one way. Like it had the metal railing, and only one person or like 4 people could go across, and 4 people come the other way. But you can't. 2 sets of people can't be going at the same time. So you get across that, and then you go up that little ridge, up that little hill, and then you see the lake. And then you see the naked, dirty hippie chicks that are up there because they actually are. They're like hippie mermaids. It was amazing.
They're sirens. Hippie sirens.
I would have been taken in like Ulysses if I was. It was just, it was an amazing sight. And just to get up there and take my shoes off and to put them in water because, again, like newspaper fucking broken down. Like I literally would have to keep replacing the cardboard in it each night because where we worked, it was just getting soaked. So, but it was probably my favorite place in all of Yosemite was up at Vernal Falls. It was just amazing.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, you had giant stones and just covered in moss, and people were sliding down that shit. And there was no way in hell that I would ever get in that fucking lake. I was like, nope, not gonna fucking happen. I would be the guy going over. So it's like it's not gonna fucking. I think they had a fence that if it did happen, it was stop people from trying to commit suicide.
They had a hippie fence.
Yeah, because people did die from it. I remember hearing about that, like not like in 2001 or something, a few years later. But I'm sure it fucking happens all the time.
There's a bunch of suicides there in like in Bridal Falls too. There's a bunch of suicides.
Yeah,
Bridal Veil Falls.
Yeah. There's quite a few falls. And Vernal's the only one I did, but I know you probably did them all.
Yeah, I did them all. Yeah. The Yosemite Falls is pretty tough.
That's like a 2-day hike up to the top.
Yeah, lots of switchbacks and shit like that. But it's pretty cool. The river's really raging up there. I think it's the Merced River, and it rages up there, man.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like we went up to Glacier Point was another good time, like to go up to and just to look after.
Oh yeah,
and it's great because this wasn't this time, but a year later. We have a great photo of. I swear I have it somewhere. I wish I still did.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
so they took a picture of us, and I had Hulk Hogan fucking hair. Like
and I had black hair. Remember, my hair was. I fucking dyed my hair black. What the fuck?
Oh man, I don't know.
My hair was black. Well, why did I dye my hair black? What was I doing?
I don't know. I was just a real American at the time. I just felt like I am a real.
Yeah, I remember when I got you, Hawkster. I got you to talk into shaving your head. Was we were? I was going bald, and I said, "Fuck," started shaving my head, and then our car broke down. We had to go to a hotel in Oakhurst. Yep. And I was like, bro, it's time to get rid of that Hulk Hogan. And I shaved your head.
Yeah. Well, that whole story is even better. But
it's bad.
Yeah. So
we got about 5 minutes left. Let's describe what a night cleaner is, and then we'll pick up air next time.
Yeah. So we got.
What did we do as a night cleaner?
There was 3 jobs as a night cleaner. There was 4 night cleaners. There was Tim, myself, Jerome, who was a little black dude who spoke very quietly. And then
from Delaware.
Yep, and then there was Rich.
The only person I've ever met from Delaware.
And Rich Skinner, which could have been a serial killer, which is a bad thing to say there. But had the perfect name for it. But interesting guy.
Dick Skinner.
Everything was a cigarette.
Yes, he measured time by cigarettes.
Yeah, we're gonna have two cigarettes.
Yeah, I'm like, hey man, going on break. He's like, oh, that's a 1 cigarette or a 2 cigarette break? 2 cigarette break.
Yeah,
and that's how he measured time in cigarettes.
It was. So there was.
He was an all right guy. You know who he reminds me of? Looks and demeanor of Dave Alvin from the Blasters. He does, man. If Dave Alvin was a ginger, Dave Alvin's blonde, but like the looks are.
Well, he was chubby too. Rich wasn't. Rich was pretty fit.
Dave Alvin is he's a thin one. His brother's kind of chubby. Okay. Phil was kind of chubby. Phil's old and I don't know, cancer or something. He's skinny now, but anyway, so there it was me, you, Jerome, and Rich,
our boss.
Steve.
Zip.
Wouldn't it be nice? Zip. Yeah, he had like some kind of weird vocal tics. So when he'd be talking, he'd just drop a zip or a whoop in the middle of a sentence, like he had what's that
Tourette's
disease?
Or something, but not
like he had Tourette's or something. But we think he just burnt the fuck out. His favorite pastime was
smoking weed.
Was his favorite thing to do,
and panning for gold.
Panning for gold and
spraying,
number 3,
spraying raccoons.
Spraying raccoons with
hot water.
Steaming hot fucking water. He'd go out. We couldn't find him, and he'd always be outside by the dumpster spraying raccoons with fucking steaming hot water. And then one night there was a fucking bear out there, and he was shooting a bear with the hot water. Me and you walked there, like, what the fuck, Steve? Get inside!
Yeah. Whoop, zip, nope.
Whoop, zip. I remember in Nam Boys, there's no bears in
No, you were on a ship smoking weed. That's what he did.
On a ship.
Yeah. But so the jobs of a night cleaner there was 3 different ones, and I hated one. I would never do one. I refused. So the first one was called Silver. Now Silver was you cleaned all the fucking tops of the flat tops, and then all the stains.
Sucked.
You had to wipe down. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have any white stuff.
All the grills.
It was gross. It wasn't gross. It was just tedious bullshit. I hated it. Now the second.
Well, remember what we used to clean that shit? It blew my mind. We used charcoal and vinegar.
Charcoal briquettes to clean everything off a grill.
We didn't use no fucking crazy chemicals or nothing. We used vinegar and charcoal, and we kept everything hot as fuck too. Remember the grills were all hot.
Yep.
Cleaned the fuck out.
Because you had to, because just to get that like those eggs and everything off, you had to. And that egg shit had been there all day. But I hated that
all
job.
Day.
I hated that job. The second job was called floors. Now floors is literally
you like that one.
I liked floors because that's literally what it was. It was you mopped. You had to keep the Jello off the main big floors. Just keep everything. It was floors. So you're like, that's why my shoes were always fucked and wet, because it was always had that shit. And then the third job was the mountain room, which is the most disgusting one that you could do. But Tim and I would always be the ones doing it because the other guys didn't want to do it.
They didn't want to do it because we would always volunteer.
It was a 4-star restaurant. And they had, like, you would walk down there, and one of their biggest sellers was fresh trout. And there would be fucking fish heads everywhere. And you had to clean all that shit up because they just knock shit on the fucking floor. Like, oh, fuck these guys. Cooking some fucking fish. And you would and it was great because it is destroyed. And you would go in and clean all this shit. And then it was amazing how every morning they walk in and it's all fucking clean. No one respected that. And it pissed me off. But to me, it felt good to see it clean.
And one of the perks from cleaning that is we got access to desserts and shit. And sometimes actual food. But usually we would just steal those fancy-ass desserts when we had keys or it was unlocked.
No, they would leave it unlocked, I think. Or they forgot to lock it, and we would get peanut butter pies.
Fucking, not even hungry. I'm just going to eat the fuck out of it. Dude, remember that one time? I think it was like Thanksgiving or some shit. There's all this food there, and I thought that it was a piece of cheesecake.
Oh, the brie?
And I grabbed it up, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I took a big bite of it, expecting cheesecake, and it was quiche or some shit. And I was like, oh, fuck. Dude, I still can't eat. I can't eat this shit to this day. I'm like, no. You got me once.
That's not gonna happen again.
But so we got those 3 jobs. I remember you like floors a lot because the floors, you sweep this fucking giant dining room down, and then you kind of and you mop it, then you kind of chill until everything else is done, and you go in and mop behind everybody, right? So you had some downtime. Fucking Matt loved it because he'd find a booth somewhere, remember, and just fucking crash.
Sleep.
Steve would shake his change.
The best part was Steve would. You could sleep in the mountain room waiting room. They had actual couches,
Mm-hmm.
so you just go in there and you go to sleep, and then he would jangle his keys when he came through, so you'd get up because you had the vacuum in there for floors. One of the things.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
But we always had to leave at like 4:00 in the morning, and the security guards would take us back because no buses were running and the bears were out.
No buses, yeah.
So we always got that ride. But that was night cleaning, and so we'll go into more at the next one.
That's right. We'll pick up from there next time whenever we do that. But that's it for now.